Sometimes growth isn't a straight line, listeners. It is a heartbeat. Spikes of momentum, valleys of recalibration, and the quiet stretches where the real strategy is forged. Welcome back, listeners, to BizBlend, where we decode the terrain founders actually walk, not the highlight reel. I'm Sana, and today we are unpacking business strategy and growth, the unspoken timeline of business. Now, what I mean by this is basically we're going to explore what really happens quarter by quarter, year by year, the risks you don't see on dashboards, the compounding moves you only notice in hindsight. And listeners, joining me is Brandon, a 26-year veteran and the go-to business law expert on the Treasure Coast. He has seen companies rise, stall, pivot, and scale, often based on decisions that looked tiny at the time. And let's map that timeline you won't find in any of the pitch deck. And also the legal choices that either grease the runway or stall the plane. So, Brandon, welcome to the show, and I'm really honored to have you here with us.
Thank you very much, Sana. It's nice to be here.
Absolutely. Okay, Brandon. To begin with, let's try to understand here. So, let's begin with the first 24 months reality check. Um, I'm really curious to know what are the three non-negotiable decisions that statistically shape a company's long-term growth, and also if you can share what legal missteps derail them most often, as per you.
Sure. So the first 24 months of a new enterprise is it's exciting. It is sort of it is the testing period. It is the whether you're going to succeed or fail. The period where you're correct that mistakes at this stage sometimes you're not going to recover from. That's the end of it. It doesn't work. Similarly, sound decisions you make during these 24 months at the outset can set your company on a path, a trajectory forward and upward. One of the mistakes I see founders make in the first 24 months is, as it specifically relates to business law, of which I'm a business attorney, is if they're in business with someone else or someone else's money, that is, someone has staked the business, invested in the business, not in a publicly traded sort of investment kind of way. But if you're in business with someone else or someone else's money, the details of that relationship need to be reduced to writing. So often do I see partners, and I don't mean partnership in the U.S. tax code kind of way, but two people entering business when they're happy and smiling. They could be friends, they could be family, but they fail to write down what the roles and responsibilities are once they're up and running. This leads to disputes. And fortunately, once you're in business, it's very difficult to get out of business with someone. I often say that if someone is investing their money, their capital into your business, you may think they are a silent partner. I assure you, silent partners are anything but silent. They are looking for a return on that investment, and they certainly have opinions on how their capital is going to be used by you, trust or not. So the teaching point here being in the first 24 months, you want to reduce to writing your business deal with someone else you're in business with or someone else you've taken money from.
So, two things which I can understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, Brandon. So, it's kind of, the honeymoon period, where everything seems like going well, good, and, everything is, completely going as per the plan. But then when reality hits hard, when things may go maybe wrong or maybe some kind of uncertainties there, I think that's when the partnership or the business, the fundamentals are tested in there.
I agree. And remember, the unknown, the unexpected could be a positive thing as well. If you're, in some small business making a product and all of a sudden your local government, or there's a huge order for this, and it's going to take up 80% of your capacity to make it. You and your partners have a decision to make. Well, do we commit all our resources to filling this one order? Do we expand to fill this order? Take on more employees, buy more materials, things like that. It's a good problem to have, but without some documentation, without knowing who actually makes the final decision on that kind of thing, you're paralyzed. One partner says, I don't think we should take that big contract because we simply can't fulfill our smaller contracts, and what if it goes away? One partner may say, I think we absolutely should fill this large contract and only fill this large contract. That's a good problem to have, but you can see without agreement on how decisions are made, you can end up at a dispute over something that's quite good. I've seen actual partners, unfortunately, at 50-50, come to blows, come to loggerheads over a buyout. Somebody wanted to buy the company. One partner felt it was enough money. The other partner wanted a little bit more. And here's the thing: they squabbled, and the potential buyer walked away. It happens, and that's something I wish more owners knew, to get get things down on paper. Who makes the decisions? Who makes the final decisions in a company early in that first 24 months?
Absolutely. Also, this makes me really wonder, Brandon, like if a founder can only get one of those decisions right in year one, which one protects the most downside, and why?
That's a good one. This is what your product is and how it's sold. I'll take the second idea first, because I believe this is the most. This is where founders in the first year mess something up. And remember, I'm a lawyer. I write agreements. If you don't know what you're selling, or you don't know how to sell and get paid for your product or your service, you probably won't be around very long. I've seen a lot of companies go out, do work, and then not get paid for it because they didn't know, or they didn't think to get half of a deposit, get half of the materials cost, let's say, for something that's very custom, get half of it down. If it's truly something custom, you should get all of your money up front, because whatever you're about to make is useless to somebody on the backside. My whole law firm, we take a deposit, and if we do legal work for somebody, we take the legal fee out of the deposit, and the client refills the deposit. We would be terrible business lawyers if we were chasing our clients for money. Chasing a customer for money is a great way to go out of business. You cannot float cash like that.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. That's a really, really good point. I think this is quite a common one, where, because initially all you want to is kind of either do a brilliant GTM, like go to market strategy, or you want to disrupt the market, or you just want your products to get sold for the quick ROI because of maybe investor pressure or maybe anything else. But I think this is a very, very important kind of checklist or course correction to be done.
Sure.
Yeah. So now we talk about compounding as a legal strategy here. So in finance, we definitely talk about compounding. But Brandon, how does legal infrastructure compound? I mean,
how does legal compound? I would think, and kind of going back to our overall sort of arc of the conversation, the life cycle of the business. What you certainly want to do in those first couple of months is, and I've already alluded to this, make sure your terms and conditions with your customers are on your terms. Same way with your vendors, the people you pay. Make sure all of your agreements, both sides, are done very well. So I would consider that the base, the foundation right there. At some point, you're going to want to maybe hire an employee. Now, that can be a contracted employee, or that could be an hourly employee. but certainly make sure you're, again, documenting and writing down if it's a employee, if it's a contract, make sure you have a good contract with the people you hire to produce your goods, to perform your services. So again, it's another legal document that, again, sets you a little further down the road to success. We've already talked about the agreement between the owners or founders. We've talked about an agreement between an owner and an investor. And the common thread, the 4 things I've just told you, is legal. And you don't have to have an expensive business attorney. And I'm a bit of an expensive business attorney. It's helpful to have a relationship with a business attorney. You certainly want to, use your business attorney intelligently. Maybe each of those 4 points would be worth the spend to say, I want my contract with this new key employee to be professionally written. Downloading things off the internet is a terrible, terrible idea. If you grow your business a little bit bigger and now you may have some regulatory issues, please do not try to handle regulatory issues by yourself. If you are an insurance broker and all of a sudden you have to have some compliance, if you are a physicians group and you have all of the U.S. HIPAA rules to apply, please do not handle those things yourself. Hire a specialist group, usually attorneys, for compliance and regulatory sort of things. We do this stuff every day. And finally, the last thing is I see on the downside, the backside of business, when you've made enough, you've attracted the attention of a buyer. This is everybody's golden dream. Somebody wants to pay you something for your company, and they want it more than you do. It's a great day. Sana, it is. I see clients with this every month. That's also where you get an attorney. This is something you've built over years, usually. A lot of your time, your money, and your future is tied up with this. Do not do that without either counsel, have your accountant on board. It's a nice time to say, by the end of year 2, at that 24 months, you should not be doing your own books. A bookkeeper should handle your day-to-day, and an accountant should handle your taxes. And believe them and trust them when they advise you. An attorney, for all those documents, and then on your personal side, a financial planner. I don't manage my own money. I don't know what the market will be doing today, tomorrow, or anytime soon. Trust professionals. And again, I started this conversation with the arc of business, the life cycle, the hidden timeline. And from 24 months to the sale of the company, you're putting those advisors on your team and you're using them intelligently.
Exactly. I think this is simple and straightforward, and brings a lot of clarity. And of course, it is compounding. I think that's exactly where it makes sense. It's not a magic. It is math, early standardization, negotiation, and then, reuse that forever. So, yeah, that absolutely makes sense.
Sana, if I may, a lot of what makes entrepreneurs and founders good at what they do is that do it yourself. They are proud that they can, run every machine on the shop floor. They built their first website. I built my own first website for my law firm, but at a certain stage, you have to give those things up because they take so much of your time away from running the business or doing the hourly, the profitable work you do. That even like I said, rely on professionals. Let people do work for you. Do not run your own IT department. And I talk to business owners, very successful. They still try to answer their own phones. They still open their own mail. And even if it's 20 minutes a day, that's 20 minutes a day you're not getting back. Is that 2 hours a week? Yeah, no.
Absolutely. I think that's where we often talk about delegation as a leadership skill or a leadership trait. I think that's where it kind of gets tested. Instead of you running the business is running you. So you don't have time for that foresight or that creativity to scale or expand your business. So yeah, I think that's a very
Which is not to say that your own time management shouldn't be factored in. My assistant and I have a standing Friday morning meeting to discuss marketing, and I don't focus on legal. She doesn't work on the client work. She works on what's working for our marketing. Where are we deploying money? What are we buying? What are we advertising? Where are what's coming up that we have to prepare for? Maybe I'm giving a speech somewhere. These podcasts. And so every Friday we do allow ourselves the time, and it's a very tight 1 hour. And if something doesn't get covered, it rolls over to the next week. What we're doing and where we're going. So you do want to give yourself time for the softer sides of the business. Crushing every single day is very hard to do. Sometimes you do have to focus on the other things that are a little easier on the mind, at least in my case.
Yeah, right. So, okay, so now moving on to the next pit stop in the journey, the mid-game pivot, which is the years 3 to 7. So now we talk about new market pricing, product line at the first real pivot. What are the quiet legal triggers founders miss that later choke growth? Licensing or data or something like that.
Sure. With growth comes additional challenges, and that 3 through 7 is an important time. I caution against expanding too quickly. There's an old expression in my business. It's called hire slow, fire fast. You certainly don't want to bring on staff only to let them go later. That could affect your reputation, but it's also very difficult on your people to do that. So certainly when you need additional people to delegate to, you want to take your time. You don't hire the first person. You may want to engage a search company that does it for you, or at least gives you the qualified candidates. I'm sure you've seen just putting something on Indeed will get you 300 hits from everything under the sun. I won't make a joke, but it is. Yeah, we advertised for a paralegal, which needs a certificate of paralegal studies. Over half of the applicants did not have that, and it just so the hire slow, fire fast, and if there are problems, like I said, you want to get into those issues, remove problems before the rest of your business sort of starts bogging down, because a bad apple or a bottleneck in your company can absolutely slow down the rest of you. So 3 through 7 is growth, and so we talk about human and growth and delegation and people. You want to watch debt in this important time here. It is not unheard of to borrow money if it's a new project, if it's a building, if you need capital and your company takes out a line of credit to do so, but be smart about it. You certainly don't want to have more debt or debt you can't pay off if it doesn't go your way. Let's say you want to take over the space next to you in a shopping plaza. You've got too much business. It's going really well. Let's go for a second location. But that takes cash and quick cash, so you want to borrow money. I urge folks to be very conscientious about taking on debt in these sort of middle years. I'm not saying don't do it, because you can save money forever and you still won't have enough to open a second location. There's just no way to do that without a lending relationship. So control debt, watch debt. Don't be afraid of debt. But again, be very judicious about borrowing money in these middle times, because it looks like you've got cash flow. It looks like things are going well. Certainly, I think those are the two things I would want to really focus in these middle years.
Oh, and they're very simple but very, very crucial. I really love the word judicious, because often I think cash flow is the backbone of any company, whether it's an organization or a startup or even a smaller business. And I want to bring in something very interesting here, Brandon. We have seen pandemic ruining or destroying businesses, because it was really, really uncertain. It was unforeseen, whether it's professionally or personally. And we have seen quite a number of examples in there, where companies, they would have invested huge amounts of their money. They would have, huge, very, very super ambitious plans of expansion, but everything got stalled because of the lockdown, the pandemic. So, how would you advise founders or entrepreneurs to be prepared? Is it possible to be prepared for such scenarios? Can there be any precautionary steps to be taken care of?
I think so. And I think if we're using the pandemic as an example, I think we're all wizened now that, if something like that were to happen again, we've at least been through it once. I think my business has a plan that if things started, what office we could close, how we would retain staff. It's forward thinking. All our contracts all have now a pandemic clause in it that if we are closed for a certain amount of time, we are able to end the contract. Again, that's that contracting we talked about at the very outset of the conversation. So yeah, I think you can be ready to a point. Now, a full-on shutdown, a strike, a supply chain interruption, they're gonna be there, but good legal documents generally anticipate that kind of stuff. I live in South Florida. South Florida is notorious for being struck by hurricanes. We love it here, but pretty much through the end of October, August through October, we're threatened by a hurricane every other week. Some of them move off and we get a rainy day, but others have hit us pretty hard. So, our buildings are hardened. We have contingency plans. We send people home. We know where to get generators if we needed to be up and running without power. And you just sort of be prepared for it. It's the old Boy Scout motto is be prepared. And I think you can be to a certain point. The pandemic aside, business interruption will happen. That's why we have insurance, and that's why we have contingency plans.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, also let's get to the later phase here, specifically exits. Now, when capital enters or an exit looms, what three diligence dials get turned up to 11? Like what actually kills deals even when the business is very strong?
What to look for in the end stage, and what you want in the end stage for your business is long-term contracts that you've earned or won, that you've had for a long time. So your relationship with, let's say you sell a product or you sell a service, and you've got the contract to do it for your city, your local city. That's a great contract. That's going to give a lot of value to your company. If you are in any sort of tech space, or you're in any sort of creative space, you've gotten your patents, you've gotten your trademarks, you've gotten your copyrights on all the things that make you, you. And this is end stage stuff because those long-term contracts, that intellectual property I just mentioned, a reliable, a good workforce that's, there, loyal, no labor issues, average term of employment with your company is measured in multiple years. And a strong balance sheet. You have not taken on crushing amounts of debt. You're not living hand to mouth. You may be large, but there's profit coming in, and the profits should be going to you. So those are the markers I look at when we're doing the due diligence. We're looking at an acquisition. Now, mergers and acquisitions is all I do. That is my side of the firm, and that is my favorite thing to do, buying and selling businesses. And honestly, you want to think about that 2 and 3 years before it's time. There are a lot of small businesses will continue to, particularly with the S corporation status under the U.S. tax code, they will continue to have their vehicles in the company. They will continue to have a son or daughter on the payroll. If you could see me, I'm doing the quotey fingers on the payroll. but that employee is just a family member that was just kind of getting paid. You want to eliminate all of that. You want to make your business lean and very, very, very profitable, because an investor, that VC you're talking about, is going to pay you on profitability, not sales. And by having, again, steady income stream, long-term contracts, good workforce, little debt or no debt, you're ripe for a takeover, and that's the big dream. That's when me and the client get to clink our glasses on closing day, for multiple seven figures.
I love that. I love that. Of course, especially when it comes to investors, then sales won't matter. It's all about profitability. And Brandon, this is a bit of a personal question about your journey, but if you can give us the timestamp, like how many years in are you, and if you had to sketch the journey as chapters, what were the inflection points that actually moved the needle for you?
I think the inflection points I had was obviously the starting, and I started with $100 and a card table in my spare bedroom. So there really wasn't much going on here. So that's that was opening. Certainly getting our first set of customers in the first 2 years. I think the next pivotal point was getting proper attorney commercial space that looked like an attorney would work out of it. Conference room and a real office, and that was, I don't know, around 2 years, 3 years, and it was right at 2 years. I know I got really tired of answering my own phone and booking my own appointments. So the first hire I made was from a temp agency. I have my own. We employ plenty of our people now. We use a temp agency because I was so afraid of permanently hiring somebody, an assistant, to answer the phones, to schedule these podcasts like this, run my calendar, make sure nothing got missed, and collect money from clients. It was hard for me to do that. It's a skill I don't have. Victoria, who runs the client side of my office, is quite good at it. So hiring the first employee, that was a big move. Moving to bigger commercial space, nicer. We moved up. We had some nicer clients. We got a nicer building. And then in 2018, we started in 2012. 2018, we merged with another firm. We all do different things, and that's where we put 5 names on the door. That really helped us, because being solo, I was viewed as a bit small. Right or wrong, you put a bunch of names on your door, Woodward, Kelly, Fulton, and Kaplan. You walk and you talk a little bit bigger. You get to say things like, we do this, our firm does that. And you have the backing and the partners to do the things you don't do, to advise you, because they've got their own experiences. So that really moved things forward. I think that's been 2018. We ran through the pandemic, and then our last bit of growth was just the last 2 years. We moved our office one final time, and I got to be a leadership position in my local bar association. So a collection of lawyers locally. I got to be the president of that, which certainly brought a lot of attention to my area of practice. It got me a lot of referrals. And so the two things together, nicer office and a leadership position amongst the attorneys I work with, and we're booked up. I look at my day calendar, and I know I've got 2 or 3 matters to handle every single day, and I know we're making money off of it, and it's very good. It's a lot of worry. I don't worry as much. There's always worry, but not as much.
Yeah, I really love that. There's a steadiness, there's a gradual, I think, sustainable growth and clarity. I think this is so essential for founders, because if you have kind of this, ladder sorted out in your mind and in your vision, I think that translates into the execution or the action that you do in scaling and growing of your business, or maybe in the fundamental, the first 24 months, as we talked about. So yeah, I think that's really, really great, Brandon. Congratulations for that.
Thank you.
Oh, superb. So, Brandon, if our listeners, they would like to connect with you, especially to all the founders and entrepreneurs who are listening, they would like to connect with you and extract this playbook. What would be the best way?
Certainly, we've got I think our email is all over. We have a website that has a contact us page for founders and entrepreneurs that are thinking about how those last couple of years to get positioned for sale on our website, which is WKFK Law, Whiskey Kilo Foxtrot Kilo Law.com. I have a white paper there that talks about how to sell your business and how to get ready for it literally 2 or 3 years in advance. Contact us is on the website. Our phone number and emails, LinkedIn and Instagram are all available through the social media channels.
Super, super. So, listeners, I'll have all the details mentioned in the show notes for all of you. And before we conclude, all I would like to say is, I believe today Brandon showed us how compounding legal choices turn into strategic leverage, how pivots actually require paperwork, and why the cleanest companies earn the best partners. So, growth isn't luck, it is sequencing. So, Brandon, thank you so much. This was really, really such an insightful discussion.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yeah. So, listeners, if you are building, just ask yourself what phase I am in and what's the one unlock I am avoiding. Until then, this is BizBlend. I am Sana. And until next time, build bravely and in the right order. Thank you.